Do I hear no's?
No.
Yeah.
Tell
Okay. So I'll give you an example. When I was in theater school, Therese Hayden, there was a young woman who was supposed to cry during a scene, and she couldn't do it, you know. And Terry Hayden said to her, "Okay, sit down. We're going to do an affective memory." And she said, "We're going to work through a memory. It needs to be 7 or more years in the past, so it doesn't, you know, traumatize you in the moment." And the girl said, "Okay, my mother's funeral." And Terry said, "Okay." So she had her sit, and she had her do some relaxation, and somebody checked her after some time, and then Terry said, "Okay, where are you? What do you see?" And she directed her through the experience, not saying, "What do you feel? How do you feel about it?" Always, what do you see? What do you taste? What do you smell? What do you feel? What do you hear? All the senses. And the girl sat there, and she went through it, you know, and I'll never forget it. All of a sudden, she started crying. And Terry said, "What's going on?" And she said, "My shoes. My shoes are so tight." And she started crying. And from there on in, when she would work on stage and she needed to cry, all she had to do was get a sense of that experience,
Right.
and her body would respond.
So now tell how you use
So
that.
I would do that. I would pick a memory, like when my mother, the day we found out that my brother had attempted suicide, and I would sit in a chair, and I would eventually do it by myself, but at first I would do it with my friend Dina Janice, who would sit across from me, and she would do the same thing. "Where are you? What do you smell? What do you see? What do you taste? What do you hear?" And lead me through it. And then I would, you know, after I was done, you know, just meaning like I couldn't take it anymore. I'd be like, "Okay, that's enough," you know, and then and then I would, like, as soon as I could, while it was still fresh in my experience, I would write it down in first person, you know, I this, I that, you know, and then I would let my imagination go with it, and it's really is so much like being in spirit and being in ceremony, being in trance, hypnosis. They're all connected, which is why the recoveries, once I came off of the sleepwalking medicine, were all, like, I'm so ready for, because of the acting work and because of who I am and always interested in that. So they very much overlap, you know, this sense of relaxation and going into a different state and exploring the world from that state. And I would write about it, and then I would bring it in to the studio in session, and I would sit up here just like this, and I would read it like I did today. And it would usually be a lot shorter, and I was a lot more terrified, you know. And then people would say, "Wow, that's amazing. You're a writer." And I would say, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I was the type of kid in school who was so afraid of expressing myself. And plus, the PTSD, the chronic trauma, gave me like terrible stage fright, and I was not able to get up and do spelling bees. I was a terrible speller, and it was back before computers and spell check, so I never wrote anything down until this. And then everyone was like, you know, "Boy, you sure do write good for someone who writes so bad."